You have a nation. You're an American. And don't let anybody take that from you. Everybody is trying to be an American, and you trying to run away from it. Stop it. I'm Ray Ray.
This gang isn't shy when it comes to expressing their views.
Fuck niggers, homie. Any nigger who pass by right here, we fucking shoot those motherfuckers. Kill those motherfuckers, dog. That's the hood right there. No one wants to fuck with this hood. Yeah, that's the gang, homie. That's the body right there. Cali's finest. Cali's finest body.
And you have to be wary of when putting it up here or not? You worried about putting it up here?
Nah, we don't give a fuck. This is our hood. This is our hood. Anyone who steps in here wants to fuck with us. This is ours right here. This whole place is ours. We roll everywhere we control. We control everywhere we fucking roll. Anyone who fucking rolls down here, fucking blast those motherfuckers. This is our hood, homie. You don't want to fuck with our hood.
No one comes through here and disrespects the barrio.
Any motherfucker that's black, fucking blast those motherfuckers. Kill blacks. Kill blacks. It's all about that brown. That's what's...
Officers and people in position to do things to make a difference in communities, they've known about the racial problem that's been going on here. They've known about it, and you know, for
Charlene Lovett's daughter Cheryl was killed when members of the Latino 204th Street gang were looking for an African American, any African American, to shoot. Take a look at this precious home video that even her mom is seeing right now for the first time. That's Cheryl dancing with her grandma 3 years ago.
oh, working this girl in. You go, girl.
A tight, upbeat family, seemingly without a care in the world, until a few days before Christmas. The light of her life was extinguished, and the pain that will never heal is the thought that nobody cared.
They don't care. They don't care because they don't live in this community. They don't have to go. They don't have to worry about their kids. They don't have to worry about when they come in and out of their homes, if their lives or their kids' lives are going to be taken. So they can't even fathom the thought to even think that way because they don't have to. But what about the people that can't afford to live that kind of lifestyle?
There is plenty of hatred to go around. Black gangs that hate Latinos. Latino gangs that hate African Americans. In the last 4 years, an 11% spike in gang violence that crosses racial lines.
You have a lot of the Latinos that are afraid as well. They're afraid to speak out.
So it doesn't surprise you that it would be driven by emotion?
No, not at all. I think that's basic psychology, human instinct. Absolutely.
Riding with the gang detail in Southeast Division very early one Saturday morning, we get the sense the cops are passionate about their work, but overwhelmed by the enormity of the crisis.
It's absolutely, it can be very frustrating. The sheer violence that occurs here is incredible.
Where is all this hate coming from? Gang expert Alex Alonso says it's really rather simple.
Some of it is just out of sheer hate and sheer, we don't like you living in our neighborhood and vice versa. So part of it is also just demographic changes that are happening across the county.
Just as we're sitting down to do that interview with Alex, the call comes in. Killer, the emotional gang member, is angry. He's agitated, and he's anxious to be heard. Killer has agreed to talk with someone who he professes to be his mortal enemy, a journalist of Mexican descent. As we meet, the tension between us is undeniable.
It's been happening. They actually took over some black neighborhoods and made it all Mexican now.
So really what you're talking about is the shifting, the way the area has changed.
Yes, definitely.
Just in general, it doesn't even matter if you're talking...
If all the Mexicans wouldn't have came across the border, we wouldn't be having this problem right now.
Well, you're sounding a lot like a Minuteman.
Call it what you want.
Killer sets 2 ground rules: that his face be hidden and his voice altered.
And all blacks should be aware that Mexicans have a problem with blacks. And the more populated they get, the worse it's going to get.
Is that a threat?
Yes, it's a threat.
How do we know Killer is legit? He was brought to us by T. Rogers, a former gang leader. Now he's an author and consultant to several police departments. After 20 minutes, here's what Killer had to say.
And there's no offense to you, Ms. Diaz, because I know you got Hispanic in you, something like that. I don't have a problem with all Mexicans, but the ones supposed to threaten black people.
The irony here, Cheryl Green lived in a violent neighborhood, but she lived worlds away from Killer's world.
I had many friends of different cultures, Samoan, Asian, Hispanics. She is my baby.
Cheryl Green was only 14 when she was murdered. She recently wrote a poem that started, "I am black and beautiful. I wonder how I will be living in the future."
Rockin' it, yes he is rockin' it. Tito rockin' it, yes he is rockin' it. Mike C rockin' it, yes he is rockin' it. Peso rockin' it, yes he is rockin' it. We're all rockin' it, you should be rockin' it, rockin' it, rockin' it.
Other news now, strong feelings tonight after a town hall meeting at the Ramona Gardens housing project in Boyle Heights.
The meeting was called after a firebomb attack on 4 homes in that area, and now there are growing fears it could rekindle racial tension. Ramona Gardens is a public housing development located just north of the 10 freeway in the community of Boyle Heights. It's been plagued by gang and drug activity.
KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan joins us from Boyle Heights now with more on the attack and reaction. Dave.
Well, that's right, Sylvia and Lena. We're outside the Hollenbeck division of the LAPD, where extra patrols have been assigned to work Ramona Gardens. You know, an effort to send out a message to the residents there that the police are on the case and things will be safe, as was the community meeting called this afternoon. Same thing, where the police wanted to say to the people here, look, we're working it, we're on top of things, we'll give you the answers that we have, and this is not the time to panic. This still photo taken at the scene of the attack at the Ramona Gardens housing project in Boyle Heights after midnight Sunday, early Monday morning, was posted on the Mayor Sam's Sister City website. The community meeting was called by police and fire officials after some neighbors expressed concerns that African Americans live in 3 of the 4 units that were attacked with Molotov cocktails in this largely Latino community.
We are trying to determine motive. We are trying to determine whether it is gang related or if there is some type of hate crime issue involved.
But some of those who attended the meeting, like Lynette McDaniel, who has lived in Ramona Gardens for only 90 days, says she's had enough and isn't waiting around to get the answers, but is moving out ASAP.
I don't want to be around this. I don't want to have my daughter around this at all. So it's better for her. I'll be all right. But this, I don't know what to say about it, and I don't want to continue to deal with it. So, you know, I'm going to move on.
The rumor mill in this community is filled with speculation that the attack may have been racially motivated or gang related. And the police asked us not to bring cameras into the community meeting because they said some residents would not speak out if news cameras were present for fear of retaliation. This man who attended the meeting with his young daughter confirmed there is a climate of fear for some who live here.
You know, some people, if somebody saw something, you know, people are afraid to speak.
But others who attended said after the meeting there is no racial tension in Ramona Gardens, and this lady warned that people shouldn't jump to conclusions about who carried out the attack before the facts are in.
We don't know who did it. LAPD doesn't know who did it. So why do the news say that Hispanics and African Americans are at war when we're not? We're all friends here. I have African American friends. We're not at war.
This man who didn't want his name used charged the news media is hyping the story to get more readers and viewers without waiting for the police to complete their investigation.
Something like this happens or something they insinuate or they think happened, and right away people want to make a story out of it because, you know, stories sell.
Yeah.
Stories bring up the ratings. Stories is what promotes people. But they don't ever want to talk about the good that has come out of this community.
Well, now Ramona Gardens does have a history of racial tension and gang activity, but not in recent years where the area has been fairly peaceful. Now, police say no one was injured in these firebomb attacks and there was only minor damage. We're live in Boyle Heights. Dave Bryan, KCAL 9 News.
Dave, thank you.
Immigrants are taking jobs away from them, while most black respondents disagreed. To discuss this, we're being joined now by Mr. Ted Hayes. He's a civil rights activist. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Hayes. So can I ask you about this? Do you agree or disagree with the poll? Do you think, do African Americans think that illegal immigrants take jobs away from them.
Absolutely. I don't know where this other person's getting their information from, but I'm on the ground out here in Los Angeles. We call LA Occupy Los Angeles because we have lost all of our rights. Essentially, black people in LA have been indemnified. We can't even go in the neighborhoods that were once black for fear of getting shot, beaten up, threatened, what have you. So, no, and it's not just about jobs, it's about housing, education, health care. It's about our 14th Amendment birthright that they're stealing from us. And I don't blame the people. I do not blame the people. I blame my government for failing to protect us according to the Constitution of the United States.
Well, do you agree with President Trump then that illegal immigration hurts black citizens more than it does other Americans?
Oh, there's no question about it. And not just in the physical realm of job and housing, healthcare, but it's the whole realm of our identity. For example, you've heard of anchorism, that is anchor babies, women that come to the country illegally and they have a baby and that child becomes a citizen. That is totally wrong. That belongs to the freed slaves.
Hold on, you're saying you're talking about anchor babies. I want to touch on that. So you are against the so-called anchor babies, the babies that were born in the United States, given our Constitution, a constitutional right that those children are American citizens. So you disagree with that law?
That is not true. They've twisted that. It's a custom. If you please take the time and you go to my website and you can study it, tedhayes.us. They have twisted the 14th Amendment to mean them. It is not. Read the Civil Rights Act of 1866 where it identifies slaves. That was who it's for. It's been a custom and we're going to prove it real soon. And it's unfortunate that these poor people have been lied to and deceived. It's like someone's stealing something from somebody else and giving it to you, and you did not know it was stolen until you find out later the real owner comes and says, hey, you have my property.
So you're saying that this is somehow that law was misinterpreted and that...
Absolutely.
So you're saying the children that are born here, they to illegal immigrants should not be here?
They are what we call presumed citizens based on a custom that is not law, and it has to be rescinded at some point, because if not, we black people are going to be eliminated. We are already genocide in the minds of many people in this country. Whenever the issue of immigration, whether legal or illegal, comes up, you never hear them say, how does this affect black people? You're the first ones that's really brought us into the conversation, and I hope to be able to add more to this conversation as time goes on.
Now, I got to ask, Mr. Hayes, are you against immigration in general? Are you concerned about losing, like you said, jobs, losing housing, healthcare, education, political power, etc., to illegal immigrants? Are you against it in general?
I am against illegal immigration, which I do not consider illegal immigration. I consider it an invasion, an occupation of our country, particularly in the inner cities, which are called so-called sanctuary cities. That is coming after us. It's an invasion. When it comes to legal immigration, sure, come to the front door. Article 1, Section 8 is for the willing immigrants. The 14th Amendment is for the people who were once slaves in this country, and it can't go on like that. Oh, one more point about that. A lot of immigrants come to this country, and they claim minority status, which therefore gives them civil rights, access to something that does not belong to them. And we black folks, we chattel slave descendants, are being pushed further and further and further into the shadows of American society.
But Mr. Hayes, I think a lot of people...
So we need to straighten that up as well.
I would argue, though, Mr. Hayes, that a lot of people that say civil rights are human rights, don't you think a lot of people, whoever they are as people in the United States, deserve a certain level of dignity and rights?
Yes, they do deserve a level of dignity and right. They should not be tortured. They should not be harassed. But if I walk into your house, if I walk into Russia without proper authorities allowing me to do so, I will, and you punish me for that, I deserve what I get. If I break into your house and get caught, I deserve what I get. And it's unfortunate for these children that their parents are bringing them into this very volatile and dangerous situation.
Mr. Hayes, what about this though? There are many people that are watching this that are going to say that a lot of immigrants themselves are the job creators. They create the jobs, not taking the jobs, especially there in Los Angeles. I gotta tell you, I'm a Los Angeles native myself, so I can tell you there's a lot of immigrants, both legal and illegal, who are the job creators. What do you say to those people?
I have no problem with that at all. But if they're here illegally, no, it's null and void. For example, if I rob the bank today, and then next week I start giving money out to people, to the poor, the homeless, building hospitals, does that absolve me of my crime? No, it does not, folks. It does not. And that is a problem. People, look, I can't go to Mexico or Guatemala or El Salvador or Russia or Persia or North Korea or China and do what these folks are doing here. And again, it's not their fault. It's the fault of my own federal government for not living up to the Constitution to protect us. We are a protected class, not because of our skin color, not because of our minority-majority status, but because of the cruel way in which immigrant people brought us into this country as slaves against our will to serve immigrants for almost 400 years. And look at the state of black people now in this country. Look at us. Is that right?
Mr. Hayes,
Is that
unfortunately,
right?
I am out of time. We got to leave that right there. But I do hope to have you back on. We got a lot more to talk about on this subject. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for joining us.